Hi! Today I wanted to do something a little bit different. I woke up not too long ago, so I might look still a little bit tired. So I have a little bit of a personal story for you guys. Last year around the exact same time, it was in Ramadan, and this is why I'm doing it right now in the month of Ramadan, because it's been like almost 1 year. I had promised myself that I would work on myself. This is like very personal for me, and I feel like a lot of other people go through the same thing where you're just sort of striving to be like the best version of yourself that you can be. For me, a lot of it has to do with sort of like struggling to accept my own self, but the way that I'm talking about self-love today is more of like self-acceptance. So in the past year, that's exactly what I've been working on, and so I decided I wanted to do this video to kind of share some tips that have helped me. You've been yourself for me, I've been myself for like 21 years. Like all of these things that I've accumulated, like the way that I think, the way that I feel about things, how I react in certain situations, has been the same for like 20 years. For me to recognize that maybe I don't like the way that I react to certain things, or maybe I don't like the way that I talk to myself in my head, and then try to change that after those so many years, it's not easy. I have 5 tips for you guys on ways to show yourself that you love yourself more and ways to accept yourself. Okay, here we go. But the first tip is the acceptance of bad days or making mistakes or not being perfect. This is not something that you can just let go of if obviously you're sort of a perfectionist and you're kind of like that type A personality. Like, yes, you can get up and be positive every single day and make the best of every situation that you're in, but you will have days that are just not going to work out. And the first tip is to accept that sometimes that's just going to be reality. And I feel like with accepting that, it's easier to change your mindset. If you look at the opposite of this tip, if you look at someone who doesn't accept that sometimes they'll have a bad day and just questions like, why me? Why do I have to go through this? All that's doing is just replaying the situation again, and it's not really moving you from the spot that you're in. It's not really opening up those doors. You're kind of like burying yourself in the situation. You don't see a way out, and if you don't see a way out, you're not gonna find a way out. Do you know what I mean? But think of yourself, like think of the way that you talk to yourself as the way that you would talk to one of your best friends or your sister or your brother. Making mistakes is normal, but when it happens to us, we think like we've just completely wrecked everything. One area here to change would be accepting that making mistakes, like truly accepting that making mistakes is part of life and that it's okay and that you will grow from those mistakes. Number 2 is self-care. For someone who likes to consistently work, such as like a student or someone who just really cares about their work, it can be a little bit difficult to find time to give yourself a break, but it is proven that taking breaks is actually more beneficial to your productivity than not taking a break and just continuously going and like leading yourself to burnout. Some of the things that you could do is go for a walk if it's really nice outside. You could also like go out for coffee or make a smoothie for yourself, bake something, whatever you like to do. Like if you like to read, you can do that as well. Knowing that it's important to give yourself a break sometimes, that sometimes it is difficult to get up and continue after you've had a bad day. And that's totally understandable, and it's totally valid for you to feel like you need a break, because sometimes it's not easy for you to just pick up and go right away after you've had a bad moment. Again, coming from the acceptance that, you know what, I will have bad days sometimes, and then implementing something to take care of yourself in that moment. Like, what do I need? That might just be taking a breather for like 10 minutes and say, I need to just step away from my work. Number 3 is just being present. I feel like this is one of the best tips, because if you suffer from something like anxiety, you're always thinking ahead and always worrying about the next decision that you have to make. But with something like staying mindful or staying present in the moment, it sort of helps you stay grounded and stay focused on what you need to do right now rather than what you need to do in like the next 2 days. Another tip to help make this a little bit easier is to practice gratitude. So let's take an example. If you have like 3 assignments coming up and you have a lot of work to do as well, you have another family commitment or something like that, and you're like, I don't really know if I can handle all this. When you break these things down, you realize that, oh, the assignments that are due at the end of this week, and the family commitment is on the weekend, and my work is like after school hours or something like that. Once you put all those things into perspective and you say, okay, you know what, I don't have to deal with all of these things right at this moment. I just have to deal with what I have to do at this moment, and just sort of breaking things down into really what's happening at the present moment rather than what I need to do in like 2-3 days and over stress about that and overthink about it. And a way to practice gratitude with this is to think, okay, at this moment I'm doing well, I'm okay. Just simple things as in like, I have food on my table, I have family members supporting me through this, able to breathe on my own, like just simple things that you overlook every day but are very like making significant contributions to your life. The fourth tip is journaling to reflect on your day, and this is a little bit of a habit to build, and it doesn't have to be done every day, but I feel like it definitely helps to reflect on my day, and I found that it did really help. You could also use your phone as well if you want to. Pretty much I like to do this before going to bed, and I will just like write down the date and what happened that day, and I will reflect on, okay, like, did I like the way that I reacted in such a situation, or what do I want to see from myself in the future, things like that. What was I grateful for today? Sometimes if I don't have a lot of time, I will like write down 3 things I'm grateful for or something like that. Just something small to kind of reflect on your day, and you can like jot down more adaptive ways to like react to a certain situation, and then you could try to implement that in your next day. Number 5 is to be open with communicating to your loved ones about what you need. I think this is great for self-acceptance or self-love because it's a way to reduce isolation. If you're someone who, when you get stressed out, you just want to be alone, that's totally okay, but you don't want to let it get to the point where you're always isolating yourself, because it's great to have support around you, even if that's not from a family member, if it's from a friend, coworker, whoever you feel comfortable talking to. It's better to be open about what you need rather than holding it inside and expecting other people to give you that without even telling them that, because they can't read your mind. A great way to show others that you have boundaries with them is to be open to communicating with them about those boundaries. But again, that always starts with communicating to those other people, respectfully obviously, that, you know, I just need some time for myself today. So yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed these 5 tips, and I hope that you will try to implement them. Let me know below if this helps you at all, or if you have some tips to share with us as well. These tips are not something that you can just implement overnight. If you wanted to implement some of these tips, I would recommend maybe choosing 1 or 2. I know this is going to take a lot of practice if you're going to try to implement them, and I even still struggle with some of these myself, but these are definitely the top 5 that have helped that I've found. So yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.